Well, howdy, Nerd Gym nerds. This is Coach Melanie here to guide you through all the ins and outs of Nerd Gym etiquette so that you can boldly move forward with confidence in all the things you do at the Nerd Gym. So let's get it started. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you. All right, here we go. The Nerd Gym etiquette. So what we're going to go over today is getting and giving help appropriately, communication, attire and gym gear, and how to be an OG nerd. That's a nerd who knows how to use open gym time. So let's get it started. First off, practice positive self-talk, not only for yourself, but your fellow nerds. Positive self-talk is important. You don't have to like it, you just have to do it. I know it can feel really uncomfortable when you're first getting started, especially if you're not used to saying nice things to yourself, but I promise that it will get easier over time. Practicing positive self-talk is an important part of what we do at the Nerd Gym, so please participate when we do those goofy things after classes, like telling your body good job and all that stuff. All right. Helping your fellow nerds. Participate in discussions on the Friends of the Nerd Gym Facebook group and the Nerds for Life group and in person before and after classes. So the support network in the Nerd Gym is super important to everyone's success. Every time you like somebody's post on Facebook or post a GIF on their feed there, that really helps everybody out. It makes it fun. It makes people want to continue. So all that time making comments and connecting with people before and after class is time well spent, and we appreciate it. For how we communicate on those two places, the Friends of the Nerd Gym is where all of our new 6-week challengers go, so please keep discussions on that group. Two things that would be relevant to people who are just getting started. We don't want to confuse them with too much crazy stuff all at once, so we keep the nutrition discussion to 6-week challenge compliant meal plan stuff only, and talking about the team training classes as far as that goes. Now, the Nerds for Life group, that's the place to put questions that are, either more advanced exercise questions or questions about different nutrition plans that we may have exposed you to, that kind of thing. So anything that would otherwise maybe confuse somebody who is brand new, put it on the Nerds for Life group. That is very helpful. All right, and then getting help from the right places. You want to make sure that you're using that text helpline, 214-5871. That is where all the coaches monitor your questions coming in. Now, remember, this is all these messages, they're text only, and they go to your coaches only. So this is not something the entire Nerd Gym community sees. It is something that just your Nerd Gym coaches see. So this is a great place to ask questions that require either an expert answer or that you do not want to post to the Nerd Gym in general for privacy reasons. So you can get answers on your meal plan, your program, exercise, and all that good stuff. Don't guess, ask. There's no such thing as a dumb question. We really want to hear all of your questions so that we know what content to put out and how to answer you best, and that will ensure that you're actually doing the things that are most effective for your program. There's a lot of crazy nutrition and fitness information out there. We want to make sure that you're getting the right kind of information. So that's how to get help and be helpful, is offer help through those avenues and get help from those places. Okay, next up. Let's see if I can do, there we go. Okay, oh, my favorite quote from George Washington on the internet. Don't believe everything you read on the internet. George Washington. So we want to get help from the right places. The Nerd Gym offers a wealth of information and resources. Don't get confused or bogged down with all the crazy other stuff that you might be exposed to on the interwebs. All right, do you want more out of your training? Do you have new goals that you would like to achieve? We can do that the SMART way. So SMART stands for specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound. SMART goal workshops are going to be held monthly, and I will be posting a video on how to actually create SMART goals and get support for those goals. SMART equals success. So the 6-week challenge is an example of a SMART goal. Now, after we have completed the 6-week challenge and we have continuing goals and want a continuing accountability from our coaches, that is when we reach out to do a SMART goal setting session. And again, this is because we don't want you to do just random extra shit that you found on wherever and hope for success. We want you to do the SMART way so that you can get actual results for all of your efforts, and we are there for you. All right. Encouraging off-plan workouts versus encouraging on-plan workouts. So this is relevant to use of open gym time. This is super important. So like I said, you have a lot of information and resources from the Nerd Gym coaches directly, and we can help you set new goals and all that stuff. Encouraging off-plan workouts might be like you go in and say, I'm trying a random thing I found on the internet, you should do it too. And then the other person might look at you and be like, geez, that does not look safe or effective, but sure, I'll try it, right? That's not helping anybody. It's not helping yourself. It's not helping your Nerd Gym friends. On the flip side, you could say, well, I'm doing some skill builder practice if you've made it to the skill builders, and then you're doing some practice on that. Or I'm doing skill builders as part of my SMART goal, even better. Now you're setting SMART goals, and then everybody knows what you're talking about. They can say, yay, me too, you know, help each other get those SMART goals done with your open gym time. So that's super important. Make sure that you're doing things with your friends in open gym time that are on program and on plan for best success. Yes. Okay. Great quote from Beaker. Okay. Communication. Yes, communication is important. Say what you mean, but don't say it means. So we're going to talk a little bit about communication because that is a super duper important part of Nerd Gym etiquette. So negative self-talk versus expressing yourself. Once again, we got to talk about that positive self-talk. So negative self-talk example would be to be in class and be like, man, I'm so weak and out of shape. And then the people around you who are maybe not in as good a shape as you are say, geez, if she's out of shape, what does that say about me? Now, obviously you want to express how difficult the workout is, and you can totally do that. What would be a more appropriate way to do that would be to say, holy fucking shitballs, this is a hard workout. And then, you know, the people next to you be like, I know, right? This is super hard. So you still have expressed yourself, but you've not placed a judgment on yourself and therefore on others during your workout. So that is what we want for positive self-talk during class time, even when we are under stress. Okay. Communicating with your coaches. They are there to help you. Okay, coaches are there to help you select appropriate weights during class, to modify the workout for injuries during class, to help you set attainable goals at SMART goal sessions, modify exercises for more or less challenge in class, correct your form to improve effectiveness and reduce risk of injury during workshops and classes. And then, you know, it's important to remember that all these things that we're doing, we're asking our coaches for help, but we're asking for it at appropriate times, right? If you're in the middle of a class and your coach is helping everybody with form and keeping track of timing, that is not the time to ask them what you should be doing for your SMART goals, right? That is, we're going to save asking about SMART goals for SMART goals sessions, or follow up for that on the text line. If we're asking our coach for assistance during class, it's going to be on things like selecting correct weights or improving form, things like that. And of course, we don't ask the coaches for any of these things during open gym time. Okay, now your coaches have many superpowers. This is true, but they are not mind readers, okay? So here's an example of not communicating versus clear communication. Now, at the beginning of every workout, we ask, you know, for name, pronouns, injuries, right? And question of the day. So do not expect your coach to remember your injuries from class to class. We ask this for a reason. And again, don't ask your coach to be a mind reader, right? So like if somebody is in the class and they're doing introductions and they're like, yeah, no injuries, I'm totally great, you know, that can leave the coach wondering, but kind of not really able to help you, right? It's like, if you say that, the coach might think, geez, you know, he seems kind of off today. I hope he doesn't die on this heavy shoulder press workout, right? But if you say to your coach, my shoulder is injured, I didn't sleep last night, and I feel like shit, then the coach can be like, okay, let's modify the workout. That actually gives them something to work with. So make sure that you are clear about your communications and communicating your injuries, whatever they are each time, even if they're the same dang ones over and over again. We do appreciate the reminder. All right. We are born naked, everything else is drag. RuPaul, I love this quote. Make sure that you've got the right kind of gym drag. So we're going to be talking about gym drag right now. Okay, Nerd Gym dress code. Can I wear this? Yes, we can do yoga pants, stretchy pants, sweatbands, bandanas, hats that do not have a large brim on them, basketball shorts, running shorts, or short shorts with compression shorts underneath, t-shirts, tank tops, any clothing or cosplay that does not pose a tripping hazard and moves and stretches with you and covers your torso and your asshole and your junk. Also, flat, flexible shoes. Okay. No, and why not? Things that we're not going to wear at the gym and why we're not going to wear them. All right, number one, stiff jeans or slacks because they restrict movement. Short running shorts, skirts, assless chaps, or kilts by themselves with no compression shorts underneath because I can see your crotch when we're stretching. Okay, so this is something to keep in mind too. If you do tend to wear running shorts to your workout, some of them are cut very high, and if we do not have like a compression short underneath them, then doing those hip opener stretches becomes a little dubious. Okay, crop tops, bare torso, or sports bra only. We're not going to do this because you're going to get all dirty and leave your back and belly sweat on everything that you touch more than if you have it covered. So because we, during class times, do share a lot of equipment, we move quickly back and forth from one thing to the next. Sometimes we're down on the floor, sometimes we're up. Having your belly and back covered means that you're going to be leaving less of your sweat on things and also be picking up less dirt. So we appreciate a covered torso, please. Capes, scarves, large hats, unsecured wigs, hair that's getting in your face and is not tied back, because you shouldn't be bobbling your head around or getting caught up on shit while you're exercising. So this is a really common thing. You know, if somebody has like long bangs in their face and every time they come up from a deadlift, they're like tossing their hair to the side, like blowing their hair around. Doing that neck movement, like trying to get it out of your way, is actually really dangerous, and we don't want to be flipping our neck and head around. If you do forget to bring a hair elastic with you and you have long hair, we typically have some spares in the medicine cabinet, but please remember to have your hair pulled out of your face, whether that's with a bandana or a sweatband or something. Okay. High heels and toning shoes, because they're not stable. And yes, I put high heels and toning shoes in the same category. Right. Bare feet, simply because I don't want you to step on a thorn or a rock or some shit that somebody else accidentally tracked in on their shoe. Typically, I have nothing wrong with barefoot training, but in a class setting, it's not so great because, again, you know, sometimes people will accidentally track in, you know, thorns or rocks on the tread of their shoe, and then that ends up in your foot, and that's no good either. So we want to stick to those flat, flexible shoes for our purposes in class. All right. Useless gym gear and when to use it. Okay, somebody who's watching this video is about to get really offended. Sorry, not sorry. I'm going to run through this and give you my reasoning for why we don't use a lot of this stuff, or why we only use it in very certain specific circumstances. And where it is or is not appropriate. Okay, so let's start over here. Squat pad. So this is a piece of foam that wraps around the barbell, and it's typically used to pad the bar on squats. Now, here's the thing about this contraption. If the bar is hurting your neck, you're doing squats wrong, and you need to stop immediately. Do not put a squishy pad thing on your back around the bar. It is unstable, it is unsafe, and the need for it indicates that you are actually doing your squat wrong. If you do see that in the gym, we do have a pad like this. We do not use it for squats. We use it for an exercise called hip thrusts, and if you don't know what hip thrusts are, don't use it at all. So yeah, squat pads, never use this. Okay. Fitness tracker. Okay, this is a recreational device is how I would classify this. They can be fun, but they don't serve any real functional purpose, especially not for our classes. So fitness tracking is just that. It's like, oh, this is interesting. How high is my heart rate? That kind of stuff. I do not want to see you looking at your ding-dang fitness tracker midway through a class when you are in team training, okay? By the time you figure out how high your heart rate has already dropped lower than where we want it for most purposes in team training. Here's what you can do. If you're wondering if your heart rate is high enough, like you can do a talk test, and if you can carry on a regular conversation during a cardio thing, you're probably not working hard enough. And if you are like lying on the floor dead, you're working too hard. Okay, you don't need a fitness tracker to figure this out. If somebody has specific heart rate recommendations from their doctor, I want you to get a real heart rate monitor, you know, the ones that have the strap that goes right around your torso, to monitor that. But that is the only circumstance under which I would have any kind of a fitness tracker. And the ones that just go around your wrist are not accurate enough for that purpose anyway. So unless you have a doctor prescribed heart rate range and a heart rate monitor, a proper one that goes around your torso, forget about it. Don't use this thing during class. You can use it on your fun runs so that you can post bragging rights to Facebook on how far you did and what your stats were, whatever it is you use it for, but don't use it in class. All right, sweat belt. Okay, never use this thing. You cannot sweat off your belly fat. It does not help you burn more calories. Okay, this is like the kind of thing that they say, yeah, sweat off your belly fat, you'll be thinner or something, and you wrap this thing around you underneath your clothes. It definitely makes you hotter, which means that your heart rate's going to be higher, which means that you actually are not going to be able to work out as hard as you normally would. So yeah, this thing has zero benefits. Don't use it. Please don't make me explain anymore. Just don't use it. This is a foolish piece of equipment and you have no need for it. Okay. Weight belts. This is in competition, in certain types of competition, a weight belt can be appropriate. Are you a power lifter using the belt to help you with a pressurized breathing technique known as blocking or on a max deadlift or squat in competition? No? Then no belts. Also, if you were a power lifter, you wouldn't use a crappy $15 belt like this one. Belts are a very specific type of equipment. It's not like something that you just would, anytime you see somebody wearing a belt during bicep curls or on a bench press, they don't know what they're doing. Anytime you see somebody wearing a belt for anything besides a squat or a deadlift, they don't know what they're doing. If they're using it on a squat or a deadlift, and they're not immediately like loosening it up afterwards, it means that they were not using it correctly. This thing, when used correctly, is uncomfortably tight during your lift, and you're using it to create a pressurized breathing technique called blocking, and it's not just, there's no reason to use it ever in any of the programs that we offer up at the Nerd Gym. It does have a place in competitive powerlifting at certain times. Okay, and if you are interested in finding out more about that, you can ask me about it, but for the most part, there's absolutely zero reason to use a weightlifting belt. All right, weightlifting gloves. These are cosplay. I'm sorry, guys. I know that I'm going to piss some people off with this one. I think the ones that are going to piss people off the most on this page are going to be the weight gloves and the fitness tracker. I see these a lot. Okay. Weightlifting gloves, they look cool, but they are bad for your grip. Toughen up your hands and use chalk instead. Now, I know that when you're getting started, the knurling on the bar feels rough. The knurling on the dumbbells feels like a cheese grater. I know that gorilla hangs, like they feel super, super duper hard. Weightlifting gloves are not going to help you in the long term with any of that. And in fact, for certain movements, they are a hazard. I will never allow anyone to do a Russian swing with weightlifting gloves on because the grip is too slippery. We are better off using our bare hands, using chalk. If you are finding that your grip is getting pinched, you are probably in need of some coaching on how to grip correctly. If it is the texture of the dumbbells that is hurting you, then you can toughen up your hands, basically is what I'm saying. Okay, so they look cool, but they don't actually serve any real purpose. Weightlifting gloves. Okay, toning shoes. Never, ever, ever, ever. These should not exist. Toning shoes, I'm flabbergasted that they still exist. They've had a bunch of lawsuits brought against them. They create an unstable surface. They are not going to help you burn any more calories. They are not going to improve your balance. They are not going to do anything except for make your joints hurt and mess up your lifting form. So don't wear those ever. If you have a pair, just throw them in the trash. Don't even give them to Goodwill. You don't want to do that to poor people. That's not nice. They don't need messed up joints either. So just throw them in the trash. All right, straps. Depends. Again, you're not going to have any need for these in the team training classes. If you are deadlifting heavier than you can grip, and your program does in fact call for that, then the straps might be useful. But again, this is something that I would expect you to actually get coaching on how to use properly, and only if your program calls for it. So don't just randomly use straps on things for no reason without coaching. And yeah, pretty much deadlifting is the only thing you would need them for. All right, cool. So that is our useless gear and when to use it. Next slide. Okay, the Nerd Gym smell code. Can I use this? All right, so this is, this can be a touchy subject for people too, but please remember, it is very difficult to smell yourself, so don't feel bad if you are asked to address your scent. That is what friends are for, right? Okay, so let's talk about it. So things that we can use prior to class time: antiperspirant, deodorant, and baby wipes to clean up with. I know it's not always possible to shower right before a workout, especially if you're coming in after work. I do recommend having some baby wipes in your bag. Okay, so what we're not going to use and why not? So we're not going to, we don't want any odor that I can smell from more than 4 feet away. We are breathing hard at workout. Don't give your fellow nerds a lungful or a mouthful of your scent. Remember, if you can smell it, we can smell it 10 times more. Okay? Again, we know it's difficult to smell yourself, but if you can smell yourself, chances are the rest of the people in the gym can smell you too. Okay, first let's talk about body odor. This one will always happen to some degree. It's nothing to be ashamed of, but taking a shower or using baby wipes to clean up smelly areas of your body prior to class start time is recommended. If you have been, you know, not showering all day, especially in the summertime, like we've been sitting in our own funk all day, just, you know, hit it up with, you know, under the armpits and, you know, around the crotch and all that kind of stuff with a baby wipe before you get into the class time, and that will be appreciated by your neighbors. Perfume or body spray, yeah, we are not going to use this. You might be used to it, but the rest of us, to the rest of us, it smells very, very strong. So no perfume or body spray prior to class. Same thing with essential oils. When your body heats up, you become a human oil diffuser, so it makes it very, very strong. If you're not sure if you are, if you have a very strong scent or not, just ask one of the coaches, ask one of the students, your fellow nerds who you feel comfortable with. Again, that's what friends are for. We're there to help you. I know nobody wants to kill anybody in class with their scent, so just ask around. It is difficult to smell yourself, so find out. All right, cool. A pity the fool. Mr. T. Let's make sure you never earn the pity of Mr. T. Don't act a fool during open gym time. Okay, the Nerd Gym open gym time use. Can I do this? Okay, yes to these things. Extra cardio, extra stretching, foam rolling, practicing what you learned in a skill builder or a workshop. Highly recommend. Practice what you learned in a specialty program like Core Cult, Swole Patrol, or Big Booty Boot Camp. Again, those you should learn a lot in those classes, and you can totally practice those things once you have gone through the training. Do assigned SMART goal work or program plugin that you would receive at a SMART goal. So this is highly recommended for open gym time. It's what it's for. And then personal skill practice, like if you're a dancer and you're working on a routine, or solo martial arts practice if you're a martial artist. No to the following things, and why not? Olympic lifting or CrossFit because of our insurance limitations. Also, we don't coach Olympic lifting, so we can't help you there. Martial arts with a partner because of insurance. Again, doing martial arts as a solo practice by yourself is fine. If you do it with a partner, then it becomes a liability. Teaching others, again, because of insurance limitations. Same thing like if you're doing dance by yourself, no problem, a-okay. If you're teaching others how to do a dance thing, then it becomes an insurance problem. Okay, anything that requires a coach. So remember, the coaches are present during open gym time, but they have other important work to do during that time. So they're not available to you to do like free personal training, essentially. They have other things they're doing. So when you are at open gym time, you are on your own. You're expected to have something that you're working on that is compliant with what we expect out of our nerds for open gym time. Spotting without training. Okay, so not all nerds have the skill to spot safely. If both you and the nerd helping you have been coached on spotting at a workshop or in a specialty program, you may spot each other. Spotting pins are available, but you must have training on how to use them as well. So improper spotting is actually more unsafe than no spot at all. So if you are unsure or you have not been trained on this, do not do it. In most cases, you won't need to lift that heavy anyways, so you shouldn't need a spot. But if you are in need of a spot, then you have to make sure that you either have the spotting pins set up correctly or that you have a competent nerd with you who has been trained in how to spot. Okay, and then finally, the other thing we're not going to do during open gym time are programs that are not in line with your goals, because that's just silly, okay? So if you want to find out if a program is in line with your goals, find out at a SMART goal setting session, or ask your coach through an appropriate at an appropriate time through an appropriate avenue, like through text and through follow-up, all that kind of stuff. All right. The coach on duty during open gym time must be respected. If you are asked to stop an activity, follow safety instructions, clean up your weights. I expect that you would always clean up your weights anyways, or move out of the way of the class. You must comply to keep your membership in good standing. So the coach's word is law. They do not need to give you any explanation. If they ask you to stop an activity, if they ask you to clean up, if they ask you to move out of the way, just listen to them. If you feel like you got done wrong, then let me know through an email and I will address it. But this is a safety thing, and the coaches are there to make sure that everyone can work out safely. So they have the last word when it comes to everything and anything done during open gym time. And yeah, I didn't put it on here anywhere specifically except for right there, but always clean up your weights and spray down your equipment, anything that you sweat on, and wipe it down after you're done with it. You all are so good at that, I didn't even think to put it in here, but that is a common problem during, at regular, like, box gyms or whatever, the big gyms. A lot of times people don't clean up after themselves, but I know you all do, so thank you for that. All right, so the Nerd Gym open use. Can I do this? Yeah, none of this shit. We got this guy. He doesn't have clips on his bar. That's the other thing. Make sure you have clips on your bars, please. His plates are sliding all over the place. He didn't get a proper spot. He doesn't have his spotting pin set up right. This guy does not know how to spot at all. This guy is trying to do some Olympic weightlifting. These guys are wrestling. This guy didn't put on the safety clip on the treadmill, okay? So make sure you do that. And yeah, and again, make sure that you actually know what you're doing, that you're not all lopsided and messing it up. Okay, so that is it. Congratulations, you are now an OG nerd, a nerd who knows how to use open gym time and who is familiar with the Nerd Gym Etiquette. I hope you found this video helpful. Let's see, I'm gonna stop sharing. Okay, cool. All right, so I hope that answered some of your questions about Nerd Gym Etiquette and use of open gym time. And yeah, I will see you at the Nerd Gym.